Hey, Cornbread review off the bat, bro.
You might not like my review then, man. Yeah, so all in all, man, I ended up coming up 2.5 out of 5. Two of them things.
Yo.
5 out of 5 cornbreads for the cornbread review. What you think?
Yo, welcome back for another Cornbread movie review. I told y'all I had something special for y'all. This is the last movie of the year that I'm doing. Last movie, and we had to go out with a banger. Before we even get into that, who do I have on the screen with me, man? What's up with all y'all? How y'all doing?
Hey,
pretty good.
Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Happy holidays.
Cornbread.
What up? I want everybody to introduce themselves. So, of course, newcomers and ladies first. Elisabeth, please introduce yourself. How can people reach you and things like that?
Well, my name is Elisabeth. I am Tonio's sister from childhood. I still live in our hometown, Urbana, Illinois. Shout out to the cornfields where cornbread originated from.
That's right.
And during the day, I am an assistant federal public defender in the Central District of Illinois. At night, I'm a mom to two boys, 11 and 7, and longtime movie buff. You can reach me by emailing Cornbread, and he will give you my address.
I got you.
Hey.
Then we got King Payne on here. What's up, man? How are you? Introduce yourself. Let everybody know how they can reach you.
Pretty good. My name is Shawn Payne. I am a good friend of Cornbread, also a co-worker. We work. So pretty much, I'm definitely a movie buff. We always chop it up on different movies and things to that nature. I am a father of 3. A husband, and a hardcore person who loves to criticize on movies.
We're gonna need it today. And then my guy who's been on the show before, Kevin, introduce yourself, let people know how they can reach you, man. And give the right information this time, bro.
Yeah. I messed that up. Yeah, hope nobody watched that. My name's Kevin Head. Been a longtime friend of Antonio. Shoot, since I was a kid, really. Love movies. Been going since I was, couldn't tell you the age. Constantly in the movie theater all the time. Movie come out, I'm there. You can reach me at I'm gonna give the right one. My fault. At Ridge Mac 23. And I'm single. No kids, nothing.
Okay.
So ladies, get at me.
And then the next person who's been on the show about 4 or 5 times. The fans love him, love when he comes on. Fame, please introduce yourself again and let people know how they can reach you.
What is going on, everybody? Fam here from Red Streamcast, and I am back with more little things in life that you love to talk about. So happy to be here. So happy to meet everybody. Some of y'all know Kevin. I've known Kevin since he was little. Tonio, always nice to do more videos with you. I forgot my cornbread. I meant to bring in I have some Jiffy right in my cabinet. I meant to bring it in with me just so we could have fun with it because we're going to cook today. I love it. I love the energy everybody brought before the show. I know we're going to continue to bring it during the show. You can always reach out to us at Red Streamcast on Instagram. You can also find us on YouTube at Red Streamcast, where we talk about everything. We talk about anime, we talk about movies, we talk about gaming, we talk about sports, talk about everything. So if you're looking for controversy, definitely go there. You can also follow me on Instagram at uncle_B3N_90. So that's Uncle Ben 90. So I'm a big Marvel fan. So that's where you can find me at.
Me too.
I'm ready to get to
it. And I wouldn't call the Avengers right here to assemble without any other movie, man. So I appreciate you guys for even stepping up. First off, seeing this movie, I've seen it 3 times already. So the only rule that we're doing right now is there are no rules. Talk about everything, because I think this has to be done, right? So the movie, ladies and gentlemen, before we do that, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and follow everybody in here right now. Follow everybody. So the movie today is The Matrix Resurrection. We are finally here for this movie, all right? This movie is rated R, it's in theaters, and it's on HBO Max. So you can also follow it there, okay? Now, I do my Cornbread movie reviews in 5 different categories for the listeners and viewers out there. First category is acting. Next, cinematography. Third, storytelling. Fourth, did I get what I bought? Meaning, did the trailer match the movie? If it's an action movie, was it action in it? So those are down that line. And then is it a must see? And we'll tally it all up. So first category is acting. Elisabeth, tell me how the acting is. If you want to talk about who's in this movie, how they act, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, I have to say that if you consider the acting as compared to Oscar-winning performances, I'm gonna have to say it's pretty trashy. I'm gonna have to give it a 2 out of 5. However, if you compare the acting to traditional, conventional Matrix type play, it is consistent. It is exactly what you would have expected. The character continuity between the first 3 films and this one was on point. Everybody reprised, the people that came back that reprised their roles from the previous films were all very consistent with their character. There was not a lot of, diversification amongst, which way they're going to go, this way, that way. They were just exactly who you expected them to be. And if you're a fan of the first 3 movies, you're going to like the acting in this one. It's not going to win any Oscars for performances, but I would have to say that it's solid and very enjoyable.
I agree with Keanu Reeves. If you want to see acting, watch Speed, Devil's Advocate, watch Point Break. Don't watch The Matrix if you want to see Keanu Reeves act. Don't do that at all. I really enjoyed I was surprised that Jada Pinkett Smith came back. That was a nice surprise. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
To me, she gave the most acting range just because she had to deal with being excited, being we need to run this because the new Zion has to be saved and different things like that. So I really enjoyed her character and her coming back. Kevin, what do you think about some of the acting in this?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Elisabeth. It wasn't where I thought it would be. I already knew what I was getting from Keanu Reeves, and I wish it was a little bit more. Especially, he didn't seem surprised too much about certain things. Like, I wish he would have been more shocked, about how many years went past. You know what I'm saying? And he just kind of I don't know, just seemed bland. So, but aside from that, the new characters, they just wasn't hitting on nothing. No Oscars or nothing from any of them. I had to just leave it at that. But yeah, Jada, I was glad to see her back. I was glad to see her, try to take on that old voice, to give her that grandma voice, so it was cool to see her range from that. So.
And they do get points for bringing Carrie Ann Moss back for being Trinity. So I really enjoy. I'm kind of a stickler on if we got the characters. We just saw Spider-Man bring back all these characters. So I don't want to hear no excuse, especially if they're still alive, right? So they brought back Yahya Abdul-Mateen. He took over Morpheus. I had mixed feelings about that because Morpheus was like more of the he was the protector, he was the wise man. This character was more of the jokester, more of trying to find himself because he was a mixture of basically 2 people, Agent Smith and Morpheus, right? So I'm still was up in the air on his character. But Kevin, what do you rate this category?
Oh, yeah.
Elisabeth, what'd you say? Elisabeth could go first.
I think I said 2.
2, okay, 2 out of 5. Kevin, what you got?
I'm gonna give it a 3.
3? I give it a 2.5 in this category. Let's go, Payne. What do you give it?
I give it a 3.
3?
That's about it. Keanu seemed like he was a drug addict trying to find himself. So not knowing where he's at and just forgetful and everything, and he's supposed to be the one. So
okay. And then Fame, what do you give it in this category?
I gave it a 3. I'll keep it short and simple since I know this is my category. I gave it a 3 for the fact that we have to remember that this is the Matrix. The Matrix has never had top tier acting. So I'm not sure what, as far as the Matrix would look like, as far as, I guess, Academy Award or like breakthrough actor. It's always been a different kind of gritty franchise that's kind of told its story and messages through, I guess, theme and reality, which I'll kind of hit on a little bit later. But I gave it a 3 because I think the newcomers actually outdid Keanu Reeves. I can't name not one Keanu Reeves movie where it's like, man, his acting was off the wall. If anything, I feel like Keanu was more comfortable being Keanu in this than any other movie. But I thought Jessica Henwick, Neil Patrick Harris, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, I thought they killed it. And on top of that, you had oh my goodness, Jada Pinkett. On top of that, bringing back Jada Pinkett. So I thought they did fantastic. So I mean, if you guys have seen The Defenders, if you've seen Luke Cage, if you've seen Iron Fist, and you'll know Jessica Henwick, she bodies anything she does. So I gave it a 3. That's about as high as it's going to get with acting for The Matrix. It's going to get.
There's an interesting thing about this cast too, is that the Wachowskis, who used to be the Wachowski brothers, and are now the Wachowski sisters.
Yeah.
They also wrote and directed Sense8 Netflix, which is a 2-season show with all amazing things. It's a beautiful show. I love that show. And if you ever watch that show, the entire cast is in this. All the stars are in this movie. Really? Wow. But they're like, I'm like, there's that guy. There's like 9. I counted up on the cast. There's 9 people from Sense8 that they into this.
Oh wow. Damn.
All right.
I remember starting it. I never finished Sense8, but I forgot the Wachowskis did that. I did forget that. That was like an early Netflix show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of Netflix's like early originals. So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty dope.
So next category is cinematography. Now this movie is, it's years in the making. So it's not like it's an hour and 30 minutes, right? I think everybody would have start throwing fires and stuff like that, right? So this movie is 2 hours and 23 minutes. So it's at least worth your watch. The budget was also 150 million, right? So it was open to them to create visually, especially even in the budget to bring certain actors back. So that's in there. For cinematography, I really love the subtle, let's say the music, the subtle awards, the subtle or undertones of the old Matrix in this, right? From the certain awards that they got for certain classes and just thinking outside the box, the cinematography. So I really enjoyed that. What I didn't like, to me, it felt like it was a copy and paste of the old Matrix. They didn't, from the first one, very original. There was nothing like it. There were so many movies that took from the first Matrix, even to the third one, where you have the slow fist in the fight and hitting his jaw in the rain. Did it for me. In this, it's like, okay, what did we do in the past? And let's just recreate those scenes. So I felt like it was not as creative as the old Matrix were. So that took a hit for me from cinematography. But Fame, what do you think about this category as well?
So you covered the budget, which is great, because I think the con part of the budget, this is kind of going to go into where I think the movie kind of fell on its own. That is that the budget was like 150 some million, but it only made like 68 million back so far. I think that in part is because they chose to release it around the same time as potentially the highest grossing Marvel movie of all time. I don't know why you would try to compete with Marvel. And then on top of that, you chose to release it on HBO Max as well. And that's going to kind of get into, did you give it, is it a must see? But you chose to release it on HBO Max as well as in theaters when you should have just released it in theaters away from any Marvel movie. And I know COVID does play a part in it too, because, you take all those away, this movie probably would have sold even more. But you spoke on the music. Let's speak about the music real fast. The music in the older Matrix movies has a more of kind of like an edgy metal type of vibe. If you go back and really listen to it, this one, I feel like they did kind of change the pace a little bit, and it's a little more kind of the music you'd hear in movies nowadays, especially like action movies with a little bit of drama in it. I think of stuff like Edge of Tomorrow, just stuff like that. Like the music didn't stick out as much as it did in the previous ones. But in regards to what you're saying about how it felt like it was kind of copy and paste, that's the point. That's the point of the Matrix. Like that's what made it so great, because I feel like the whole time I'm watching this movie, it's kind of like perception is reality. Gonna give you a quote real quick. Perception is merely a lens or mindset from which we view people, events, and things. In other words, we believe what we perceive to be accurate, and we create our own realities based on those perceptions. And so the whole time, the movie, especially the first half of the movie, is really just like a mind. It's like a trip. It's almost like an acid trip. It's like, wait, did this really happen? Is what we saw in the first 3 movies, was that actually how things happened? Or was it just the video game that Neo had created or Thomas Anderson had created? So it's almost like you're kind of revisiting the past in some senses, which I love, because anybody that's seen Matrix 1, 2, and 3, you can't just go and watch Matrix 1, 2, and 3 and then watch this. You have to rewatch those movies when they came on TBS, when they come on TNT, when you just have time, because that's how you learn more about what the Matrix is. So it's like almost like playing a game over and over again. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was there. Oh, that happened there. And so, yeah, you're gonna see some of the same stuff. Bullet Time redefined action movies. So them showing bullet time again, them slowing things down again. Yeah, that's part of what makes the Matrix so dope. It's all coding. It's all about computers. It's all about choice. It's all about the source. So I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I love that they really mess with you. You get kind of an Alice through the looking glass type of feel when you're watching this movie. It's like, okay, we're going back again. Like, I think the only time, and one of the biggest things I was worried about or wondering about was, are we going to actually see outside of the Matrix? Because Lana Wachowski actually kind of trolls us a little bit with this. And it's like, is it real? Is it fake? They even mentioned WB. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What are we watching? What are we watching right now? Like, is this like all like some kind of documentary? Is this like behind the scenes? Like, they really mess with you to see, like, are we crazy? Is Neo crazy? Or, is this all really happening? So for cinematography, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was great because it messes with you, and it also gives you great callbacks with these quick flashes of stuff that's like, oh yeah, I remember that. That is that person, or yeah, that did happen. So that's just me. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, and so the copy and paste, I can't give them that out. Because in the first one, everybody can remember the train scene, him versus Agent Smith.
Yeah.
Everybody remember.
Right.
In the second movie, everybody remember when Agent Smith created 1 million of them in Neo's fight. In the third one, everybody remembers the ending in the rain. So they outdid themselves progressively. This feels like they went back and just said, let me just recreate those creations.
That's exactly. So I agree. They did go back. But I think those are all scenes where it involved action. I think the Matrix, I think this one is kind of a reboot / sequel where they wanted to go back to the first one. The first one didn't really have a big, huge scene where it was like, oh, I remember that, like, aside from the bullet time, all that stuff. But it's like, I feel like they're trying to get away from just it being an action-based movie and it being something deeper than that.
And I think and to me, that was the mistake. So for me, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 in cinematography. Kevin, what do you give this category, and we can move on?
I gave it a 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, it seemed like they were just trying to throw everything in. I believe the character was Merovingian from the past films. He was like the big boss type of guy, the hitman,
old programmer.
Yeah, the exile. Yeah. It was like, where is he coming from? You know what I'm saying? They just throw him in there, so it was all over the place.
Payne, what you give this category?
I give it a 3.5. Yeah, a lot of the things that they have in there is just, like you said, more or less copy and paste. A lot of things I look at as far as the graphic aspect of it and how they filmed it, and how when you see the different city, it wasn't Zion, it's Io, so how it look, how it pops on the screen, certain things, even down to their costumes. I look at all that and see how it can really feed the mind and feed the person's imagination even more when you look into it. It's kind of like when you read a really good book. Your imagination will take you there, and you can see it. You can see it imaging in your mind. So in the movie, I kind of look at things that way also, and but they didn't hit that bar that I was looking for. I was expecting a higher level more than 3, something a little bit more, and it kind of went up and plateaued, flatline to me.
All right, Elisabeth, what do you give this category?
I give it a 3. I think that it still was very visually stimulating. It's more colorful than the original Matrix.
Yes.
Movies have progressed with color. Every movie it gets brighter, and it was so like green in the first one.
Green, black, and red. Yeah.
Bugs's hair is blue in this one, so there's just more color pop, so that's visually nice to look at, but I agree that some of the effects were not where I expected them to be.
All right, thank you. So next category is storytelling. I know a lot of people might be chomping at the bit for this one, man. So let's go with Payne. You have this category, take it away. What do you think about storytelling?
Hey, I'm just gonna keep it short and plain. I ain't gonna go too in depth with this. It's a mixture of a love story that I've seen where he was pursuing one to make sure his love is freed. Is definitely, to me, the story went along the gender equality. That was a big thing that they employed involved that. So the storytelling, I was expecting a little bit more, and I probably was looking for something that's where you see Smith and he just more powerful, have more powers and more capabilities than Neo. So a lot of the dealing with the story, I couldn't really grasp it too tough. I followed it and I was like, why are they doing this? What is this about? You know, they could have just stayed almost in a sense where give the viewers something that makes them say, oh my God, you know. And for me, a Marblehead comic book reader collector for years, and I look at storylines, it just didn't do that for me. Now, did I like that they made him whether he's gonna take the blue pill or the red pill, and he was still getting fed the blue pill constantly? That was cool. But overall, for the picture itself, there was a storyline and just basically he want to get Trinity out the way and have her in this whole thing where they're separated like two magnets. You separate them and they're less powerful, but if you bring them together, they more powerful. I ain't go with that too tough.
Yeah, so some of the and Jason, I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder, but I'll let you go next. So basically the premise of this movie is them two are powering the Matrix. That's why they brought them back. That's why they created Neo and Trinity, because they both died and the Matrix is going to die. They brought them back to power the whole thing of the Matrix. But the problem is, if they come too close, they're going to have epiphanies and get out of the Matrix, which the machines and operators don't want. So that was kind of the thing, but it's issues in that story. But Jason, go ahead, talk about your storytelling and what you thought.
Sure. So you did, yeah, you kind of touched on that. So
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. So I will say this. Number one, as far as this Matrix is obviously a franchise movie. As far as franchise movies go, the closest and easiest one I thought of was Star Wars. When Star Wars came back, expectations were through the roof. It was crazy. It's like we expected Jesus to have a lightsaber and be fighting Goku at this point. It was crazy. So when I went in watching The Matrix, had to make sure that I had zero expectations. That way I didn't set myself up for failure. And then also I was able to watch it with a very open lens and say, all right, cool. What am I getting myself into? As far as how it picks back up from number 3, I think the theories and thoughts that fans had were just so over the top still that when it was so basic, by the way, people, we're like 10, 15 minutes into this video, spoilers, sorry. So by the time like we got to understand what happened with Zion, why IO is where it's at, how the machines became sentient, it's like, well, duh, that actually makes sense. Because if you've seen the Animatrix and you know that machines came together to rebel against humans after humans tried to wipe out the machines, it only makes sense that after Neo sacrificed himself and changed, him and Smith both changing the Matrix, giving sentient life to the machines, it only makes sense that what's the next thing the machines are going to do? They're going to rebel against each other. That it only makes sense. And when I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, duh, that does actually make sense. They rebel against each other because guess what? The machines are made in man's image. That's something that man has always done. We come together for a common goal. After that, we usually split up and we fight amongst each other. It's history repeating itself, except it's being done through the machines. And so seeing that happen on the outside of the Matrix, I was like, oh, well, damn, that's actually pretty damn good. And then on top of that, you getting the story of how they have to keep Neo, how they wanted to keep just Neo. They wanted to just keep him in there because they believed that he was the source, but they didn't understand that it was Neo and Trinity that was the source, that is kind of like that's a little bit of a retcon right there, because it was originally Neo. It was originally Neo, and they retconned it, and they made it Trinity too. And I get where you're coming from with that too.
Yeah.
I don't care. That didn't bother me where it was like but it was like they did kind of retcon that a little bit, where it was kind of like Neo and Trinity were both the one. It makes sense, because to me, I thought of it as in, if I get a brand new Xbox and it has all these new updates and all these great stuff in it, if I get the component, if the component that I need in it is taken away, I'm gonna just have a basic weak Xbox. I want to have the new stuff. I want to have the good stuff. And so that's what it is with the Matrix. Them having that source, which is Neo and Trinity, they need them. It's crazy because you see that it's a symbiotic relationship, and I like that it's being told on the outside of the Matrix, and it's being told on the inside of it. So I thought the story was great. I thought that as far as Agent Smith being tethered to Neo, we saw that at the end of 3. So I don't know why it was like he's not going to come back being somebody greater or the big bad guy. He's tethered to him. He's his other half, which was established in number 3. Now, as far as the actor that played him and just us buying into Smith, it was a tough pill to swallow, because I think we all like Hugo Weaving better than this new guy. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even look the guy's name up. Not saying that he's not a great actor. I just
Frozen.
Oh,
Yeah.
so there it is. I was getting Do You Want to Build a Snowman vibes. I was getting something along the lines.
You're better than people. I mean, that's what I hear.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's something, I guess, just buying into him being evil. That was the tough part. But I did like seeing Smith back. It would have just been better seeing Hugo Weaving. I get it. He didn't want to sign on for it. Well, that's beside the point. But was there too much crammed into the movie? Debatable. Is it setting itself up for future sequels? Absolutely. It's just a matter of if the fans will take it. I mean, that's what I think at this point. So I thought that it was a great. You said what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I thought that it was a great movie, and I thought that it had a better start than what the Star Wars franchise has done. And I love Star Wars, but I thought it had a much better start off than what the Star Wars franchise has done.
Yeah,
personally.
Well, okay.
And for storytelling, I had two main issues with this movie. First, the movie opens up, you're in the new Matrix, right? 60 years past when Neo exploded and just created the new Matrix, right? 60 years past. So if we're in this new Matrix and we saw, let's say, a doppelganger Trinity, does that apply to everybody? I'm just asking, right? Because it's like, if that's the case, where are those other characters that they didn't introduce with that storyline? So that was one. Then number 2, if the objective of the machines and the operator is to keep Trinity and Neo separate, why would they introduce them at the coffee shop, right?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. If the big guy is an operator and he's programmed to be by Neo's side, remember he came in right when Neo had a glitch in the Matrix, he showed up, right? Hey, what's going on? What are we doing? And if my job is to follow you to this coffee shop, make sure you're good, why would I introduce you to Trinity? That makes no sense. So that was one. They explain that though. They explain that. So Neil Patrick Harris' character said that in order to get the most juice out of both of them, they have to give them a little bit of despair. So they know that doing that, that's going to bug them. That's why Neo would have these weird visions or dreams or whatever, and he would get bothered and he would start relapsing. They'll keep feeding the pills because that's creating more energy from Neo's pod. That's why they were doing that. Well, like he explained that. Though. That was a bad plan, obviously. That didn't work. But so I mean, I'm not working, but they did explain it though. Yeah. So what do you rate this category, fan? Oh, I'll give it a 5. Don't play with me. 5 storytelling. Payne, what do you give it?
Oh God, let me see. What I put in my little notes here. I rate the storyline. I gave it a solid 3.
Elisabeth, what do you give this story? I mean, a storytelling.
I give it a 4. I think that I'd like to see the parts that got cut because I think that there are some holes that could easily be patched up in the storyline that they didn't patch them up. And I was left I had a lot of questions about why this was happening and how it happened. But overall, I mean, the overarching storyline I thought was brilliant. So I'll give it a 4.
Kevin, what do you give this storytelling?
Yeah, 2.5. I think they're dragging this Smith thing too much. It was cool after the 3 movies. Should have edited it there. Could have just easily just went different direction with that. You don't need to keep showing up, even though it's a different character, but it's him, so didn't need to keep going there. And the whole zombie or horde or whatever he could swarm. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
No. No. They don't even seem like a Matrix movie now. It just seem like a zombie movie.
Hey.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
and then
2.5.
in storytelling, I give it a 3 as well. 3 out of 5 on storytelling. Next category, did I get what I bought? Once again, this means that the trailer matched the movie. If it's supposed to be an action movie, did you leave knowing that you want action, not comedy, right? Or maybe something different. And then also, based off what you saw, was it the amount that you paid for normal, right? Normally, some of these streaming platforms, I'm not gonna name them, but they just put movies out there and it's $30, $40, something crazy. But this was free on HBO Max, right? So if you didn't have that, that's how much it is. So for this category, Payne, I'll let you go first. Did you get what you bought? What you bought?
I didn't pay for it. So.
Pay for it. So. Oh, God.
Well, hey, I would say yes, I did. But my expectations, I mean, me and you, we chopped it up like for weeks waiting on this. So yeah. I would say I'm gonna say yes, because just the hype of it, it's the Matrix. So seeing it on the screen was still to me refreshing to see. And so overall, did I buy with a hype? I said, yeah, I did.
And for me, there was 2 main things that I had a problem with. I don't like, Fame knows this, man. I don't like the Fast and Furious logic. I want y'all to think about it. There was a 1,000,000 round shot and nobody got shot.
Oh, yes, it was.
They shot for 2 hours and 20 minutes and no one got shot. Nobody has no protection, no nothing. Neo has an unlimited force field now. He don't even got to dodge bullets. Right. He just goes like this, and it stops everything.
Right. I
have a huge problem with that, because at least in the first 3, he had to progress to this greatness, right? And that he did have some flaws. He wasn't, I guess, the one, even though he showed signs of it. But then in this, very lazy. I had a problem with that. And then also, like I said, kind of the copy and paste stuff. They were overdoing it with the blue, all the blue hints everywhere, things like that. So did I get what I bought? I'm gonna say a 3 out of 5. I had higher expectations because this is my #1 movie of all time. And you don't have to pass my expectation, but at least meet it. Show me that you want to, put them. But then again, one person made this the first 3, 2 people made it, right? So you only got half the brain, which I can understand that as well. So that's a 3 out of 5 in this category. Kevin, what do you give this category?
I gave that a 3. Surprisingly, only because I'm a big Matrix fan, and I even went to the theaters and seen this, and I got HBO Max at home.
Nice.
That's pretty bad. Yeah. I went in and spent $14 and even more on a big, large popcorn and a drink. And
you broke now, huh?
Balling out here.
Because it's the Matrix, and I'm like, man, I gotta see this in theaters. Like, this can't be at home. No distractions.
Did your seats vibrate?
I would have enjoyed that more. But
the IMAX too.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, that was a mistake. I should have just watched it at the crib. Man, yeah. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
what you got?
I'll give it a 3. I rewatched all the other 3 before I watched this one, and I watched it with my son, who's 11. So he had never seen The Matrix before. We started at 1, we did 1, 2, 3, we did a whole marathon. We got ready, got the plot in order, and then we watched it at home because children ruin everything, and you can't go anywhere with them. So you know how that goes. I love it too. So the only time we can find time before we set this thing up. So we watched it at home, and it felt a little bit short from the trailer to me. A lot of downtime, a lot of plot gaps, not as many awesome fight scenes as I thought I was going to get. I thought it was a little bit
Yeah.
unoriginal in terms of the fight scenes, but I still really enjoyed it. So I'll give it a 3.
And then Fame, what do you give this category?
I like that Elizabeth hit on something that was great about the trailers. With new movies nowadays, I only watch one trailer. That's it, because they will give you the whole movie in these trailers nowadays. It's ridiculous. As far as I didn't go to the movies. I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw it straight from the crib. For a movie franchise that's been out since 1999, and it coming back now, and me getting a chance to watch it. What's great about The Matrix is we can all watch it for totally different reasons. You can literally show it to a college class because you can watch it for totally different reasons. You can watch it for the action, as you guys have pointed out, with different fight scenes, the bullet time, all the dope special effects you can watch it for, or you can watch it for the message and the deep themes that's in it. I watched it for the deep themes that's in it. I love that they continued on with that. Like I said, there was a lot of callbacks, especially to the first one. So I felt like I got what I bought. I didn't have to pay for anything. I got to get a continuation of a story that first started out, honestly, in the Animatrix. So I gave it a 5 out of 5.
All right, that brings us down to the last category. It's a must see. Elizabeth, take it away. Is this a
Yes, it's absolutely a must see, because even though I keep thinking I'm giving it a total 5 out of 5 because it's The Matrix and because I've been waiting for it and I wanted to see it so bad. And I loved watching it. And I think that if you're a fan of the first movie or the first 3 movies, you just have to. You cannot not see this movie. You have got to see this. And yeah, you can pick it apart and be a little disappointed with certain pieces of it, but the story continues. And if you want to be a part of that story, you can't not see it.
Kevin, what you think, man?
I'm in between. I agree in the aspect of I wanted to see that Neo was still alive and Trinity, so it was great to see, because we thought maybe she would have died in the second one. We end up seeing her get knocked out in the third one. It was like, oh, that's it, and then
she got knocked out. She died.
I mean,
she got knocked out. That was it.
Impaled, but no. But yeah, it's great to see that they fixed him up and threw him right back in. So I was like, cool, we get to see that. And then again, I'm like, maybe I didn't need to see this movie because I would rather just keep the first 3 and not. So I'm in mix between. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Kevin, if I gave you your money back on your popcorn, would that help you raise your score?
Yes.
I just want to know. I felt that. I'm sorry. I felt that. I'm like, yeah, he's probably pissed. I understand.
What do you rate it?
Wasn't what I was expecting. I gave it a 3.
3. I really enjoy. I was curious how they were going to get Neo and all of them back to the real world, right? Unplug them, basically. Remember it was the phone booth. Now they did it with the mirrors, and I really like that. How they can hack the mirror and things like that. So for me, a must see. Now we don't just have a 1 anymore. We have a 1 and a 2. They opened it up that it showed Trinity having more shit than Neo at this point. You know what I'm saying? So I really enjoyed that. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. Is it a must see? Because it's still my number 1 movie. So hopefully they improve on the next one, though. I'm ready for the next one. I'm ready for that. Payne.
They're gonna have a baby.
What is? Oh,
They're gonna have a baby.
What's
gonna happen?
He did say something about he don't have any kids.
Oh my God.
What's the name? What's the name? Everybody give the baby a name. What's the name?
Kevin. Shit. It's not a common name. Movies. I swear to God.
Name's gonna be Brio.
What?
Oh, shit. Yo, that's a good name.
What do you give the category though, Payne?
My category. My old movie category?
No. For this,
no, the number.
Oh, my rating? Oh, I still give it a 4.
4. Okay.
I still give it a 4 because it's still the Matrix. You still have to see it. I mean, I'm a fan of all 3 of them and so forth. But you still, it's not a perfect 5 like Fame would give it, But I will give it a 4 because it's the Matrix.
And Fame, going. I don't know if he told your score or not. Is it a must?
So the funny part is, I actually gave it a 4. I actually gave it a 4. Look at you. You thought you knew me. Look at you. I gave it a 4. Look at you. I was gonna say the same thing that really everybody's been saying. It's still the Matrix. It's at its heart, it's still the Matrix. Once again, you could go see the Matrix for multiple different reasons. I want to see it for the fight scenes. I want to see it for the story. I want to see it because Keanu Reeves is in it. He's been killing when he does action movies. You can see it for multiple reasons. At the end of the day, it's still the Matrix. It's a 4. Period.
And so that's all 5 categories, and you heard it 5 different ways. So now we about to tally this thing up, see where it lands on the 2021. It's the last movie of the year that I'm doing reviewing. Let's go, Elisabeth, again. Overall, what is this movie out of 5 for you?
4.
4 out of 5. Kevin, what do you give it?
A 3.
3. Payne.
Give it a 3.75.
3.75. And then we got Fame. What do you give The Matrix? 4 out of 5?
4 out of 5.
And then I give it a 3 out of 5, man, based off of all those categories, man. So there you have it. Check out the 2021. That's the last list of the year. Everyone on here, first off, I appreciate it because it's not easy. We gotta, you gotta break down. If you like a movie or you hate it, you gotta break it down and then tally it up. So thank you guys again for that. But I'm not done with y'all yet. I have to get a forgotten movie from everyone. This is a movie that maybe people forgot about, never heard of, or they did watch it, but they need to double back and watch it, right? COVID out here, so they got free time. They can watch the movie. It's okay. So who wants to go first and give their forgotten movie?
I'll go first.
All right, what you got?
I'm gonna tell my age on this one because I don't look my age. And Antonio knows that. I'm gonna take. So the forgotten movie is my 1984 Dune, written and directed by David Lynch. So everybody's seen the new one that came out this year, 2021. Yep. But a lot of people didn't know about the original one, which pretty much was a Frank Herbert's novel that he wrote that in about 1965, if I'm not mistaken. So that is the new one that came out, which is much longer than the original one that came out in 84. If anybody remember the one in 84, the 2 hours and some change, they told a whole story of dealing with the Iraqis and the spice and so forth, and the reason why the spice is very important in the universe. Now with the second one that's came out, we can know it's going to be a part 2 because they didn't get through all of it. They didn't. They just did half of that. So I will say my forgotten movie is going to be Dune, the original one.
Thank you, man. Fame, you next, man. Give the people a forgotten movie.
Oh, because I feel like you got mine, but I'll go ahead and do it. So my forgotten movie is The Animatrix. The Animatrix is like a little spin-off movie that came out, I believe, after the second Matrix movie. I think. I don't know what year it came out, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I love The Animatrix because The Animatrix, it does a great job at telling different stories revolved around the Matrix, and it's different animations within each story. And I think the 2 most important ones that if anybody is ever going to watch it, they need to watch is the Renaissance Part 1 and the Renaissance Part 2. Within those 2 alone, they tell how the Matrix started. They tell how humankind got into the predicament that it's in and what happened with these robots, why they rebelled, how they grew to power so much. And it's pretty graphic, actually. It's kind of dark. So Animatrix is a great entry in the Matrix saga, and it's one that you really need to watch if you want to really get the backstory of why the Matrix is what it is, how it operates. Also, you get other stories revolving around other characters. Some of them are actually in the movies, like in number 3, and some of them are just you never see them, but you get to see like just that there's a lot of other people that fought for the cause, trying to fight for humanity. So mine is The Animatrix.
Appreciate that. Elisabeth, what movie you got?
Terminator Dark Fate.
Okay.
Which is the best Terminator movie, in my opinion. All female, all power. It's got the roles of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, and then just the protagonist is just this kick-ass lady. I just love that movie. There's a ton of amazing action, and I've literally seen it 150 times.
It's with Amelia Clark, right? It's got Amelia Clark in it.
Oh, she was
Yeah.
the one before that.
Yeah.
Kevin, talk to me.
Yeah, okay. This one's gonna be different. It's a movie called Get Over It. It has Kirsten Dunst in it, Mila Kunis, Ben Foster, Cisco's in it. So it's about Cisco's in it, and it's about a teen, which I'm pretty sure we all been through. Gets heartbroken by his girlfriend for another dude, and he can't get over it. He's constantly, I gotta go after, I gotta win her back. I gotta do everything I can. I'm falling around in school, almost on some stalking type, but it's just straight comedy through the whole thing. So that's my God movie.
Appreciate it. This ain't your movie, is it? I don't know what's going on. What's up with you?
Oh no, I'm not going through that. I'm fine.
And my movie since 2021 marked his last movie of doing this franchise. I'm gonna go with this movie. Is the first one that he did in 2006. This movie's PG-13 and it's Casino Royale. I had to talk and give my hats off to Daniel Craig. After he did this first movie, I'm a huge poker player, so that got me much action. And every time I saw Daniel Craig in another movie, I cursed him out. I said, make another 007 movie. Stop these other movies over here. But he did it. He did 5, and this was his last year. So my movie is Casino Royale, the very first one that he did, 007. So thank you guys again for being on the Cornbread Movie Review. You are always welcome to come back in 2022. There's plenty of movies that's gonna come out that I'm gonna keep reviewing. So any last words from each of you guys before we get out of here?
Okay, so that's how we get there.
Good. All right.
You know what? I do.
All right, go.
For the Matrix. You know how when Neo gets out of his pod for the first time and Morpheus tells him you haven't used your muscles before. So of course he couldn't walk. He got straight up and started walking around after 60 years. And I'm like, yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, but I'm like, all right, you're the one though. So okay.
60 years is a long time.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
But yeah, that's all I had to say. that kind of blew me. So.
Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Thank y'all again, and I'll be back with another episode of Cornbread Movie Review.